Hello everyone, it's me obviously. Today's topic that I'm going to be talking about, I was unsure whether I wanted to share with everyone, and it's taken me nearly a year to share it. I don't know why, I just thought maybe no one wants to listen to it, or maybe it's a little bit too gruesome. So if you don't like gruesome details about childbirth, I highly suggest that you do not watch this video because I'm going to go into detail. I have been asked so many times, especially after I gave birth to Taj, was it a natural, was it a cesarean, did I tear, how long was my labour, all of that jazz. So today I'm going to share it with you all. I was 40 weeks and 4 days before Taj was born, and that was on a Saturday. He was born on a Sunday morning, but I went into labour on the Saturday night. So on the Friday, I was obviously 3 days overdue, and I was over it. I had a really, really amazing pregnancy. I didn't get sick, which I know a lot of mums do, and I feel really sorry for them when they did because that just wasn't my experience. I wouldn't say I had the glow or anything, but I felt really energized. I exercised right up until 35 weeks. I took time when I needed to, but all around I felt pretty good. I definitely had cravings, cheese for a week, salads for a week, salmon for another week, sausage rolls for 1 week, bread, fruit, juices. I went through quite a few cravings, let's be honest. Anyways, I was, 4 days overdue. I was just like, I am over this. I just want him out. I really want to meet him. And I was just a bit over being pregnant by that point. About 38 weeks, I was like, okay, I am ready to be a mum now. Like, let's get this show on the road. So on the Friday, I rang my obstetrician. I had Dr. Ashy at John Flynn Hospital. He was incredible. I would highly recommend him. He's almost like laid back and casual, and sometimes a little bit, I don't want to say inappropriate because that makes him sound unprofessional, but he has the same sense of humor as to what I do, and that just made my whole experience feel really, really relaxed. And that was really important to me because it's so scary thinking about giving birth. On the Friday, I rang him up and I said, I'm over it. I want to have this baby. Can I be induced? I don't care what we do, just get him out. He was like, Ash, like, I know you're keen and I would do that for you, but the hospital is really busy and I don't just want you to be not looked after properly, and you would be looked after, but he's like, I'd rather you come in when you're meant to come in. But if it's not here by Monday, let's induce you. So I was like, okay, I can wait a couple more days. I just had a feeling he just was not gonna come. So on the Saturday, Steve and I went down to Coolangatta and we met Gretty and Eric. We had an acai bowl, went swimming. Gretty and I went for a swim, and there's this huge wave that came over us like on the shore, and we had to sprint, and here I am like over 40 weeks pregnant, sprinting out of the beach. I felt like that might have moved him down a little bit further. Anyways, later that afternoon, we just lay in bed and oh my God, Steve's probably gonna kill me for sharing this, but right through my pregnancy, I just wanted to have sex all the time. And Steve felt like he was poking the baby, so he wasn't as keen as what I was. But we had heard that sex can bring on labor. So I was like, all right, babe, let's do it. Let's try and get him here quick because I'm over it. So we had sex, I won't go into details, don't worry. 20 minutes later, contractions started. I just started to feel like these sharpish kind of pains. It was about 10 times more intense than like a regular period pain, but it kind of hurt. So we started to time those, and they were about 8 minutes apart. So I rang Dr. Hanafi and I was like, I've got these pains, they're 8 minutes apart, like what do you think? And he said, you're probably, they're probably contractions and you're starting to go into labour. Why don't you come down to the hospital, we'll check you out. If nothing's happening, that's okay, but you're better to be safe than sorry. And John Flynn, where I was at, they're really great. Like, if you want to stay there because you feel like it's going to happen, they'll keep you there, they'll put you in a comfortable bed, and they were just really, really great. So I went down there, and I think I was about 1 or 2 centimetres dilated, so they said, yep, you have started labour, so you are staying here. So it was really, really exciting. Even the drive down to the hospital, we were so excited, and I was just like, oh, I hope this is happening. That was about 3 or 4 in the afternoon when the contractions started after we had sex. Why do I laugh when I say that? I'm so immature. Anyways, went to the hospital, I think it was about 5 o'clock. For the next 9 hours, I had the most painful, intense contractions. They got to the point where they must have been about 20 seconds or 30 seconds apart, but I wasn't dilating more. I think I was still about 2 centimeters or something, but I was like hovering over the bed screaming. They were so painful and crying, and then they would all of a sudden disappear, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And I think after about 3 hours, Steve was like, get the epidural, like stop putting yourself through this pain. You don't need to do this, you don't need to be a hero. I was like, no, like surely he's got to come soon, like it should be okay. I was totally open to having an epidural, having gas, having whatever I needed. If I needed cesarean, I did not mind. I had no specific birth plan because anything can happen on the day, so I didn't want to attach myself to what was supposed to happen. So I was really open to anything, and after 9 hours of doing that, I was pretty exhausted. Must have been, 1 or 2 in the morning. I was really tired and they were getting so bad. So I had an epidural. The best thing ever. It was so good. It literally like eliminated all pain. Steve had to sleep on the bed, so I think for the next like 5 hours I just rested. I wasn't asleep, of course. I was just like watching the charts and just checking with the midwives, and you could see when I was having a contraction, but I couldn't feel anything. So about 4 or 5 in the morning, it definitely started to wear off, and I had dilated further. So I think I must have been about 4 or 5 centimeters. So still nowhere near ready to push, but I could start to feel things again. They topped up my epidural just a tiny bit. I didn't really feel like it made that much of a difference. And then it came to 7:30 and Ash came in and he said, you are ready to go. So let's start pushing. I was like, oh my God, this is happening. My whole left side of my body was numb and my right side wasn't. So I didn't actually want Steve down the receiving end because I just wanted him up here, and I was just like, can guys ever come back from seeing that? I still want this to be a sexual place after. But he ended up having to hold my left leg, and I asked for a mirror. I told you it's graphic. I wanted a mirror so I could see what was going on. I kind of describe it like a personal training session. Every push I could like slightly see like his head coming out a little bit. Then if I didn't push hard enough, it'd go back in. I was like, oh my God. And this went on for 2.5 hours. Now, any mums watching, you would know this is like the most tiring thing you'll ever do, because each push you are like tensing every single one of your muscles. It is so intense and amazing and crazy at the same time. So after 2.5 hours, finally he came out. The midwives and Dr. Ash Hanafi explained that, and girls, if you're pregnant, please listen to their instructions. On, I think it's the last couple of push when the baby's about to come out, you have to do like smaller breaths rather than like big pushes. I did not listen. I done 2.5 hours. I was exhausted. I just wanted him out, and I did a big push, which obviously got him out, but it also gave me 2nd-degree tearing. That was my worst fear, is that I was going to tear. Getting stitched up down there, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't. Taj was put up on my chest, and he was really alert from get-go. Steve caught the most beautiful photo. I'll pop it up on the screen, hopefully, if we can find it. I'm sure he's got it in his phone. And I held him in my arms and I cried from like this overwhelming feeling of happiness and fear and like exhaustion. It was incredible. But just to finally meet him, he looked nothing like me or Steve. He had like dark hair and like really slanty eyes, probably from just being squished. He was 8 pound 1, so he's quite a big boy, which everyone was really surprised at, because everyone was like, oh, you're carrying so small, and the media would say that I wasn't feeding my baby and I was starving him, but he was actually quite a big boy and still is. He rocks his double chin and dem thighs. Once he was on my chest, I still had my legs up and I had to get stitched. I asked him how many stitches I'd need. He told me 1. Because I'm sure if he had told me that I needed over 20, which I don't actually know how many I need. I just knew it was 2nd-degree tearing, but it was quite a lot. I couldn't feel anything, obviously. The aftermath, which no one talks about, and I will talk about a little bit here, even though it's a little bit gross. People tell you to take pads to the hospital because you bleed a lot. Holy shit, you bleed so much. Well, I did, and most of my friends that I've spoken to, they bled a lot as well. It is crazy, and like I had to sit up on this chair and Steve took me to the shower, so I had to shower straight away after I'd spent like an hour with Taj on my chest. Blood just comes out like crazy. Oh, I'm sorry for the details, but I feel like some mums just don't know about this, and they should know about it before they go into hospital. I wish someone was that honest with me. I wish there was more honest people in the world sharing these details, because my personality, I like to be really prepared for what is coming. Yeah, so I got stitched up, and when I lay back in the room, Mum, Gretty and Sammy were all there waiting, so they got to meet Taj straight away, which was really cool. We spent 5 nights in hospital. I was scared to go home, to be honest, because having the midwives there helping me get him to latch. He never latched from the start very well. He had a tongue and a lip tie, which they did not pick up on the hospital. It's the only bad thing I have to say about that hospital is I was checked by lactation consultants, I was checked by a pediatrician, he was checked by the midwives, and no one picked up on his tongue tie and lip tie, and it was quite severe. So breastfeeding was not an easy process for us. I stuck with it even though it friggin' killed every time he would latch on until about 8 weeks old, and it was just excruciating pain, and he would get the worst wind. He would like cry all the time, so I went to an osteopath and I was like, my baby's crying, like he's getting the worst wind, I just don't know how to help him. And she looked in his mouth, or she watched how he latched first, and she was like, hang on a second. And she looked in his mouth and she said, I do not know how you've lasted breastfeeding this long. He has one of the most severe tongue and lip ties I've seen. You need to go and get this fixed ASAP. So I rang Steve crying. I was just so upset. But we booked him in straight away. There's a dentist in Talabudra, Dan someone. The best one's in Brisbane, but I wanted someone local, so they had to laser his tongue and his lip, which is done very quickly. I think it was more traumatic for me. He came out smiling. Well, actually, he was smiling in the car. Actually, when he first came out and I tried to relatch him, that was really hard actually. That was a good half an hour of like stressful trying to get him to latch. When they breastfeed, they have to learn with their tongue to like find your nipple and then latch on. So he never learned that because he was tongue-tied, so he had to learn how to breastfeed again. I've gone so off track here. This is just meant to be my birth story. I just love talking about babies. Anyway, so basically that's my birth story. I breastfed for 6 months and I had about a month's worth of frozen milk because I expressed every single night, which was tedious, but it gave me so much more freedom if Steve needed to look after the baby, if I had to work, or if I needed Joe to look after him. It wasn't the easiest experience, but I'm really glad that I stuck with it. You know, you've just got to do what you've got to do, whether it's formula fed or breastfed. As long as your baby is fed, healthy and happy, that is all that matters. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you've got any questions, please feel free to jump over to my Instagram, comment below, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. If you've got other suggestions, I always love knowing what you'd like me to talk about. It's sometimes nice to veer away from health and fitness and talk about everyday life stuff that people don't talk about. I'm very open, as you've seen in this video, and if you follow me on Snapchat, you'd see that I talk about almost anything and I just love it. I love talking, I can talk underwater. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please let me know, and don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you'll get a notification every time I upload a new video. And yeah, let me know if you enjoyed it. So I will talk to you all next time. Bye.